You have reached the Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Enforcement and Removal Operations, Dilley Family Residential Center, Dilley, Texas. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. If you are calling to report a person residing illegally in the United States, please call 1-866-347-2423. If you need to speak with an officer and you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time or dial 0 for assistance now. Thank you.
So here's a picture of Yanela Denise Sanchez, I think. Her mother's name is Sandra Sanchez, and Yanela Denise, I'm just going to call her Yanela throughout this thing. So Yanela is going to turn 2 years old in July, according to a report, I believe. The Daily Mail actually said that she was 3 years old. So a lot of the media have been split on this. Is she 1? Is she 3? She looks like she's 1 year old to me. And, okay, so here's a picture of her. Aww, right, with her little ponytail, and a picture with her mom. So she is 1 year old Yanela. Yanela is the famous baby girl on the cover of Time magazine that's creating a hoopla that's becoming the iconic photo for the immigration crisis that the Trump administration had started on May 5th, 2018 of this year. 1 month and 20 days ago. So here's what's going on. In 2009, so 9 years ago, the U.S. government overthrew the Honduran government. We did it for the corporations. We did it for the capitalists, just like we did so many times. The United Fruit, Guatemala, Honduras even, Nicaragua, El Salvador. This is just what we do. We're an empire. We overthrow governments. We don't do it for the people or for socialism reasons. Actually, it's against socialism. So we go against popular leftist movements that said, let's get the people something to eat. And we defend the corporations. That's what we did in 2009. 2009, we overthrew the Honduran government. Our government, the U.S. government did, for the corporations, turned Honduras into a murder capital of the world. The U.S. government fucked the Honduran government up, and it created a refugee crisis. And then when the refugees came to the border of the United States, we sent them back into the shithole hellfire that our government created without remorse. That's Hillary Clinton. That's Barack Obama. That's 2009. It's Democrats. Birthday Caceres was killed by Hillary Clinton in Honduras. 4 years after toppling the Honduran government, Sandra Sanchez tried to get into the U.S. of A., but she failed. Sandra Sanchez is the mother of Yanela. So Sandra Sanchez tried to do this in 2013, but failed. ICE deported Sandra Sanchez to Honduras. Before, 5 years ago, in July 2013, under the deporter-in-chief, Barack Hussein Obama. So, she's pretty resilient. She keeps on fighting, takes a licking, keeps on ticking. So, she failed. Sandra Sanchez failed in July 2013. Yanela was not even born, but they have other children. There's 3 other children that Sandra Sanchez has besides Yanela. So I don't know if any of them were born at the time. Yanela was not born in 2013, 5 years ago, when Sandra Sanchez tried to become an American to get out of her shithole hellfire country. The situation that we created. We created that situation. We fuck up their country, we fuck up their world, and then when they try to get out and they try to declare asylum, we say fuck you and we send them right back. No wonder it's a murder capital world, because where else are they going to go? The people are just killing people. There's death squads and defensive corporations. This is with the United States stamp of approval all over. Even if the people of America don't understand, you're damn right the people of other nations knows what the fuck is going on. It's a matter of life and death to them. Most Americans don't even realize they're a goddamn empire. 900 military bases in 150 countries. That's an empire. If we're not an empire, what the fuck is? Rome wasn't. So, May 5th, of 2018 this year, 1 month and 20 days ago, the Trump administration put separating children from parents into their immigration policy with Mexico. What are we going to do with all the immigrants from Mexico? We're going to separate the parents and we're going to separate the babies. That started May 5th. 2018, 1 month and 20 days ago. From then, 2,500 migrant children have been separated from their parents at the border. So there's 2,500 migrant children somewhere, probably in some concentration camp somewhere. And they only have 20 days to do something with them because of the Flores decision. So May 5th is when it began. She'd already tried once, but you know what? She got sick of the bullshit. Sandra Sanchez is going to try again. The 32-year-old mother and her 1-year-old baby girl, she takes off. She starts walking towards Texas. She's in the Honduran, near the Honduran capital, Tegucigalpa. She's in Puerto Cortes. So she lives in Puerto Cortes, Honduras, just north of Tegucigalpa. And on June 3rd, according to her husband, Sandra Sanchez, took her 1-year-old daughter without telling Dennis. That's what Dennis says. He knows everything else that's going on, but he had no idea that she was going to take Yanela. And she took off for America. So this is a 32-year-old mother, 1-year-old baby girl. This is in Honduras. Honduras is Central America. They had to go through Guatemala. Then they had to get into Mexico. They trekked over nearly 2,000 miles, at least 2,000 miles. That's a 32-year-old mother with baby girl schlepped over her shoulder. In Honduras, Dennis Varela said he hadn't heard from his wife or daughter in almost 3 weeks. Yeah, okay. So I don't believe a fucking word the father is saying, but the big deal that the media is making is that she wasn't separated from her mother. This whole thing was the policy of separating parents from the children. And everybody, Breitbart, Alex Jones, even like USA Today, a lot of the media is just going fucking crazy about, see, fake news, fake news. They are using this picture as a symbol of the immigration crisis. I think it's a good enough symbol. I'm okay with it. And the tiny little detail that she wasn't ripped away from her mother, that somehow makes it acceptable. No, let's actually finish the story. So what happens, okay? So what happens is she isn't going to get separated from her mother. She's going to be detained with her mother. And she's still in prison right now. The American government, in Texas, the federal government, has captured and kidnapped Yanela and her mother, and she's rotting in a jail right now in Texas. So the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, they pick her up. So this is McAllen, Texas. This is when we take the picture. This is when John Moore of Getty Images is taking pictures of all these Honduran immigrants and the iconic photo of her crying. What had happened was the baby girl was, with her mother, and then the Border Patrol wanted to frisk her, so they set the baby down. Less than 2 minutes, they patted her down, make sure there was no weapons, and then afterwards, she picked the daughter back up, and then she got into a van, and then the van went somewhere into the darkened night. That's all John Moore knew. And so the whole point of Breitbart and Alex Jones and USA Today, they're trying to say it's fake news because it doesn't specifically represent the policy of mothers being ripped away from their children. Well, technically it does, because she was ripped away from her mother. Why was she crying? Because her mother had to put her down for a minute. Well, that's not fair. She knows that's not fair. Why am I being separated from my mother? For you? You're scary. Why do I want to? I don't want to do that. So, technically, she was separated from her mother at that time. And the broader point is that a better thing? It's not better. The problem is still persisting. It's not just being ripped from their parents. The problem now is we're going to have indefinite detentions. Donald Trump is talking about having no judge or jury, just allowing the cops to pick and choose whoever the hell they want to do. Pick and choose whoever the hell they want to pick and choose and deport them right then and there. So we're not even going to use due process. We're not even using the court system. We're just, just a bunch of Nazi thugs. So we're going to empower these basic police officers to do as the fuck as they please with anybody who doesn't happen to have papers. What if it's just a Mexican-American, or what if it's a Chicano, a brown-skinned American who's been here for generations? and they don't happen to have their papers, they going to get deported too? And so the indefinite detention, the NDAA, the war on terrorism, this all plays into effect. So right now, we're saying that having indefinite detention with entire families is better. As long as Yanela is with her mother, then we're okay with putting her in a pen in a concentration camp in jail and then sending her on a one-way ticket back to Honduras, back into the murder capital of the world, back into the shithole hellfire that we created. That's better. That's not better. That's not better. That's still talking about the very important parts of the immigration crisis. When they're sitting there going crazy, they're like, look at this, fake news, fake news. I'm sitting there thinking, where the hell is she? Where the hell is Sandra Sanchez? Where is Yanela Denise? Where are they? Are they still alive? Does anybody know that? The main point was what? Fake news, but are they still alive? That's the important part. So the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they stop them in McAllen, Texas. This is 1 month and 7 days after Trump's family separation policy was enacted. They only knew that the photographer, John Moore, on the night of June 12th, that they were from Honduras and had been on the road for about a month. So he was just thinking about the dangers that she had passed through alone with the girl, going through Guatemala, going all the way up from the bottom of Mexico all the way up to Texas. 2,000 miles. 2,000 miles, a mother, a 32-year-old mother and a 1-year-old daughter. So afterwards, John Moore said the woman picked up her daughter, they walked into the van drove away, took the picture, did not know whether the mother and daughter would be separated, but it was a possibility, especially considering the recent policy change of the Trump administration. So Sandra Sanchez then is, let's see, they picked her up near Hidalgo, Texas. So that's where the U.S. Border Patrol had picked her up, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement spokesperson. So the U.S. Border Patrol and the Immigration and Customs, and then there's ICE. What the fuck? How many more, immigration federal enforcement officers do we need? So the U.S. Border Patrol and Immigration and Customs, those are two different federal agents, and then ICE. So the U.S. Border Patrol gives it to ICE. I hate ICE. ICE sounds as scary as it, ICE. She's transferred to ICE custody on June 17th. So that would be 5 days after she was picked up in near Hidalgo, Texas. That picture is taken in McAllen, Texas. So these are 3 different Mexican cities, or 3 different Texas cities. It used to be Mexico. You had Hidalgo, Texas, where she got caught by the U.S. Border Patrol. Then McAllen, Texas, she's with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And then 5 days, it takes them 5 days to finally get her to ICE custody. And then she's housed on June 17th in the South Texas Family Residential Center in Dilley, Texas, according to ICE. So Dilley, Texas is where she's at now. She is rotting in a South Texas Family Residential Center along with her 1-year-old girl, Yanela Denise. So Yanela Denise and her mother, Sandra Sanchez. Yanela, Sandra. So the father said he felt proud that his daughter represented the subject of immigration, and he hopes that Trump puts a hand on his heart, and he hopes that U.S. officials will grant asylum to his wife and daughter. And he said that he would like to come to the U.S. one day. So it's fucked up that you have Alex Jones and Breitbart. They're quoting the father saying that, wait a second, they were never separated. And then people are saying, fake news, fake news. She's an immigrant child looking for asylum, coming from a country that we fucked up, looking for asylum, a refugee, a 1-year-old baby girl. What the hell did a 1-year-old baby girl do to anybody? And then we're going to say that it's what? It's not as bad because it wasn't the child-parent separation policy. No, it's the immigration fucking debacle. And what are we going to do? We got, 10, 20 million, get amnesty like Ronald Reagan. We're just going to start, shooting babies at the border? What are y'all going to do, huh? And this is Nazi Germany. On the front page of Time Magazine, I'm glad it actually did look photoshopped because it was like, damn, but Time Magazine went with it. And I was happy about it. And it's iconic. Where was I going with that? Dang it, I'll come back to it. But they said that this is America. They had to catch it. This is America. Well, this isn't America. This is Nazi fucking Germany. and this is a fascist, and this is a right-wing fascist, and this is concentration camps, and then these are children, these are babies. You can say whatever you want to the gangsters, to the criminals, to the adults, to a 1-year-old girl, Yanela, and we're going to pay for her ticket right back to Honduras. We're going to pay for her travels and for her stay here in that jail in Dilley, Texas, and that sounds very deliverance-y, so that's scary. Is she still alive? That's all I want to know from them. South Texas Family Residential Center, is Yanela Denise and Sandra Sanchez still alive? So, you know, this is election season. Maybe Donald can pardon them, just like the end of Aladdin. You're free, right? Just start pardoning everybody, all non-bond criminals. So he should get those two out, grant them citizenship now. Yanela Denise has touched the hearts of so many Americans. She is in. She's an American. I give her, I'll make her an honorary American. I'll make the executive order, right? It's just some, you know, here I am saying it. So Yanela Denise, welcome to America. Yeah, I recognize you as an American citizen when you were actually born in the Americas, right? You're born in the Americas. Yeah, you're an American citizen. You get asylum here. And your mother, and your brothers and sisters, and maybe your father. Check him out. Make sure he's not a criminal. Make sure he has a job lined up. But, yeah, bring the whole family in. There's, you know, Montana has plenty of space, so put them up there in Montana somewhere. And that's the majority here thing. So it says Dennis Sanchez was arrested. Denise, Sandra Sanchez. So today is June 25th. It happened, the picture is June 12th. So let's just do a quick little timeline. She left June 3rd. June 3rd is when she and Yanela took off. Yanela and Sandra walk and get to America on the 12th, right? On the 12th. Yeah. So it took her 9 days. 2,000 miles, 9 days. And then it takes, you know, 5 days just to move her from McAllen, Texas to Dilley, Texas. She did better traveling on foot than the law enforcement officers do, just going through whatever fucking protocol they're going through. So it only took her 9 days from June 3rd to June 12th to get from Honduras to Texas. June 12th to June 17th. 17th is when ICE took her in, and that's important of when she was actually housed in jail, because you can only keep a child in detention for 20 days, according to the Flores decision, which I'll get to in a minute. I got a whole pile of random information here, so bear with me. It's not as smooth, but still informative. All the media is going ape shit over that Time magazine, yet they don't even know how old she was. 1, 2, 3 years old. How old are you, Yanela? So I think she's 1 year old. I saw several of them. It looks right. Somebody said that she turns 2 in July. How would you know something like that? She turns 2 in July. She's 1 year old. She looks like she's 1 year old. Breitbart, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Fox News, Alex Jones, all of them are harping on this being fake news, right? They hate the propaganda value of a crying child and Donald Trump looking at it. We all know that scene actually didn't happen. It's clearly fucking photoshopped. But the point is poignant, and it's Time magazine, so it's a popular publication. Daily Mail, even the USA Today had something about it being fake news. And so this is such fucking bullshit. They're not telling the full story. The full story is not that they're trying to make this into something that it's not. If it does, she's become the face for the immigration policy, period. Now, if she becomes the face of she isn't going to become the face of the family separation policy. But she is a baby girl. She is 1 year old, and she didn't deserve any of this shit. So her being the face of it, by putting a face on this, now people will give a shit, now people will give a damn, and now that people are emotionally involved, now perhaps we'll actually see a change. So not only did Yanela save herself and her mother and her entire family, she probably saved 2,500 migrant children and so many more people just by being herself, just by feeling, sadness and remorse when she was ripped away from her mother, so some man can put his hands all over her and then eventually kidnap them both and then put them in a pen. She was right to be nervous around those Nazi sons of bitches. They only got 20 days to keep her in a concentration camp. After 20 days, according to my calculations, it's July 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, depending on, it was the 17th. So the 17th exactly, if you're going to say, precisely when 20 days is up. ICE takes her on the 17th. Today is the 25th, which is 8 days. And so 8 days minus 20, 12 more days. On top of this, 12 more days would be, what, the 7th of July. So the 7th of July, needs to be a decision by the 7th of July what is going to happen to Yanela. Because the Flores decision says you can't keep them longer than 20 days. It's cruel, unusual, it's unjust, it's concentration camp shit. So either find a home in the U.S. or ship her back, right? So a decision is going to have to be made July 7th. So the Time went ahead and actually told the story, how they made a mistake. They said the original version, they misstated. They said that she was taken from the scene, or she was, how her mother, but they messed up. They said, really, she wasn't carried away screaming by the U.S. Border Patrol agents. Her mother picked her up, and the two were taken away together. So, that's so much better, isn't it? Indefinitely. So she's going to be tied together and stayed there indefinitely if they're going to ignore the Flores decision. And so the Flores decision is going to matter because it ties into this executive order bullshit, which personally, executive orders don't have any legal teeth unless there's there's problems with the area and nobody knows what to do. Then they'll just go with the executive order. So really, it's just influence. So it's just, hey, here's a guy saying some shit. The Emancipation Proclamation, they had no teeth. It was saying, hey, all you states in rebellion, slavery is now illegal in your country. That's like telling, Canada that marijuana is now illegal. They already did it themselves, but you can't tell another nation, that, what they're going to do. It's just executive order. So it's just, a bunch of fucking words. So, yeah, McAllen, Texas, they're detained together at a facility, not McAllen anymore, they're in Dilley. They're in that family place at night. Oh, it's a nice family jail. It's got family in the name. Where is it at? The South Texas Family Residential Center in Dilley, Texas. Nobody picked up. I called them in the beginning there. The asylum seekers had rafted across the Rio Grande from Mexico, and they were detained by the U.S. Border Patrol agents before being sent to a processing center for possible separation. So not only did they walk 2,000 miles with 1-year-old, 32-year-old mother, 1-year-old baby girl, but 1-year-old baby girl, 32-year-old mother rafted across the Rio Grande from Mexico into Texas. They were detained together. Now, Ronnie Lee Smith was killed in custody in an Arizona jail. People die in jail, in American jails all the time. Especially Colorado had a big issue with it just a couple years ago. So, to think that they are, their lives are not in danger is fucking bullshit. Their lives very much are in danger. They're being put into the process. They're being put into the system. And even though we see the picture of her crying at the border, out in the open, what's going on now? Now that they're in their pens, now that they're behind closed doors, is there video surveillance on all these people? Do they have a good police system? Do they have a good accountability system? If there is rape or murder or crime, is there a check above the police? Anywhere in the United States, not just in Texas in the immigration thing with Donald J. Trump at the helm, but anywhere. Who's the check? The executive is the check. But they're not listening to the executive. The Justice Department, the Homeland Security officials say that the policy has not been reversed. The Flores Agreement was a 1997 landmark settlement that said the government cannot keep children in immigration detention for more than 20 days. Donald Trump is trying to have that settlement overturned, but the Department of Justice said Wednesday the 20-day policy essentially stays in effect until Congress or the courts take action to change that. So a decision has to be made in 20 days. Unless Congress passes a law in 2 weeks, July 7th, until the courts do something, the judicial branch. But Trump is saying, fuck the courts. He's saying let the cops. He's saying that the cops could have grabbed Yanela and Sandra right after the Rio Grande swim and then just put them right back over there. No court, no decision, no talking about nothing. Capture her and throw her back where she came from. So that's that's the policy. Trump is right when he says that without borders we don't have a country. We can do this shit compassionately and humanely, even though I wasn't, big on this thing. This is the moment that we broke Donald Trump's back as a society. The media, the society, we all harped on him, and for some reason, whatever fucking reason it was, Donald Trump looked at the situation and he says, yeah, that's fucked. You're right. That is evil and cruel. So even though he's all about killing the terrorists and killing other families and separating Mexicans and their families and fuck everybody's families that's not America's, for whatever reason, he reversed on this one. So I very much feel, I'm on the side of the American people with this shit. For once, maybe our compassion and our heartbeats can be victorious. So they rafted together. The Getty photographer's name is John Moore. He's from Getty. There's a human face. This issue is humanized now when you make people feel they have compassion. So this is good. 2,300 kids, 2,500 kids have been separated from their families since May 5th. That's according to the feds themselves. But then they said also since Trump has signed his executive order, 500 families have been reunited. So have no worries, America. Donald Trump has reunited all these families. He's not separating the babies from the parents anymore. He's reuniting all these families together, and now they're going to spend their time in jail forever and ever, or until somebody decides to send them back across the border with a plane ticket, with a bus ticket, just on a raft. I guess maybe they could use the same raft that they used. Or maybe we'll just keep them in jail forever and ever, and we'll just pay, their meals and just, I don't know, maybe indentured servitude, maybe slaves, you have them clean the garbage off. Who knows where this decision is going to go? What is going to happen to Yanela and Sandra, her mother? So, yeah, this is fucking Nazi Germany, and these are the concentration camps, kid detention camps, kid detention centers. And the Red Cross couldn't even get into the kid detention camps. People want to be shitty about Sarah Huckabee Sanders not being allowed to eat. What about these kids? What about the Red Cross not being allowed to get into the kid detention camps to see if they're being treated humanely? Can the United Nations intervene? I mean, my God, are we allowed to just create humanitarian crisis and be, this is sick. This is sick. America is a racist country, so none of this shit surprises me, but it's like, if a rooster lays an egg on top of a house, it's got to go to the left or to the right, right? So something has to happen to Yanela. And what is the policy of America? What are we as Americans? What is the policy of us? What is our heartbeat as Americans? And what's going to be our government policy? And will those two coincide? I think that's the question. They try to portray the Border Patrol, Carlos Ruiz, as being gentle and nice, and whereas people in jail and in uniform can be professional, it's up to them to restrain themselves, because with state authority, nobody really stands a chance. It doesn't even matter if, I guess if you could get away, but it doesn't matter how big or small they are, because if they accuse you of a crime and they put their hands on you, well, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. There's going to be some violent altercation where you're going to get kidnapped and have charges taken against you, and if you're before the court, then there's some judicial process that says if you're before the court, then they have jurisdiction. So these arrests and kidnapping is part of the, due process. I don't know. They're trying to make it sound like she's nice. They ask, are you okay? Is the kid okay? The Carlos Ruiz says she's tired, she's thirsty, it's 11 o'clock at night. So that's fucking wonderful, right? 11 o'clock at night. The girl's not immediately with her mother. She's on the ground. The crying Honduran girl, she was separated for 2 minutes. So if you want to get fucking literal, if y'all want to be technical with your dumb fucking bullshit, Alex Jones, Breitbart, USA Today, that she was separated. She was literally separated. That's why she's fucking crying. But if you want to, not be such literal fucking pricks, she's the face of the immigration debate. She's still stuck in the system right now. I don't know if she's alive. I have not heard any guarantee about this. And the fact that none of these media outlets are even talking about what's going to happen to Yanela, that's pretty embarrassing. So we could do better as Americans, and, I don't know, peace, justice, America way, fight, 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 justice, love, one love. So yeah, I hope that for Sandra Sanchez and for Yanela, I want to see Yanela become an American. So here's hoping for the best for Yanela.